Call of Duty Finest Hour is a game near and dear to my heart. This was one of the only games I owned on a PS2 as a kid, together with some chess game. COD Finest Hour was developed by Spark Unlimited and Kuju Entertainment. Spark did the single player component while Kuju did the multiplayer. It was the first COD game to be released on consoles, and its design is based on the first COD game, and by proxy on Medal of Honor. So it can seem a bit odd to some people to see a COD game with a health bar. It's shit. And to explain, I'll need to talk about the technical performance. Finest Hour is a problem I'm glad I don't see these days. It doesn't drop frames. For those who don't know what that means, when a console can't keep up with the stuff it needs to render, it has two options. Either slow the game down, or skip the frames that it can't render. Finest Hour slows down the game. A lot. It's not a bad solution if you're dropping a few frames, like from 60 to 55, but we're dropping from 25 to PowerPoint. Combine this with the realistic movement speed, and it feels like we're wading through a vat of molasses. It does not help with the aiming. Imagine somebody constantly changing the sensitivity of the sticks every few seconds. Combine that with a horrible motion blur, and aiming is more of a challenge than it should be. Otherwise, our characters can jump, crouch, go prone, and lean. I think the jump is useless since it hardly nets you any height, and there are no obstacles that need to be jumped over. Same thing goes for going prone. It doesn't add anything. No obstacles require you to crawl under them to make progress, and going prone in combat, ironically, makes you an easier target. The visuals look bad for a 2004 release. The amount of on-screen soldiers can be impressive at times, but the frame rate just tanks. It can also be hard to read what's going on, mainly due to the particle effects. It's not uncommon to be blind by your own muzzle flashes or a massive dust cloud, which makes everything feel a bit hectic. This might sound odd to hear, but this might be the most cartoony COD game. It's in the animations. Characters tend to move like they are cartoon characters, especially in the death animation. Wait, is that the Medal of Honor reference? The game is this big orchestral soundtrack composed by Michael Giacchino, who did the music for the original COD on PC and various of the Medal of Honor games. It sounds bombastic and really gets you in the mood for performing a heroic deed. Or cowering for what could be around the corner. The sound design in general is pretty decent and adds a lot to the feeling of being in a battlefield. The story of Finest Hour takes us through three different fronts. The Eastern Front featuring the Russians, North Africa with the British, and the Western Front under the Americans. The Eastern Front is the first campaign and it's a strong opening of the game. It takes place during the crossing of the Volga River, during the Battle of Stalingrad.
Welcome to Stalingrad. You're about to begin the greatest moment of your life. The Germans have lost hundreds of tanks and planes. Hitler's brutalized hordes are now advancing towards Stalingrad over mountains of their own dead bodies. Our Bolshevik party, our nation, our great country have given us the task not to let the enemy reach the Volga and to defend the city of Stalingrad. Forward against the enemy, up into the unremitting battle, comrades, for Stalingrad, for our great country, not one step back. Cowards and traitors will be shot.
And with that little bit of motivation, we are dropped off at the shore, where we get a clip of ammo. We're supposed to pick up a rifle from our fallen comrades.
Over here! Alright, comrade, you're with me! Pay attention and follow my orders, or I will shoot you myself!
Some more motivation to perform for the motherland. After running through the trenches and watching several young men running toward their death, we make it to a bombed-out refinery. Killing all the Germans in the refinery causes the rest to retreat. We blow up the wall and see that the Russians prefer to attack using the lemming strategy. But we prefer the backdoor strat.
You're still alive, comrade! I'm impressed! Follow me!
The next mission tasks us with clearing a building of Germans. Reaching through several doors, we make it to an opening overviewing a large open stretch, where we have to repel an enemy wave. After the world's weakest turret section, our sergeant, who cared so much about our life he would shoot us himself, protects us from a sniper shot.
There you are. I've been hunting that bastard all day. I'm sorry you lost your sergeant, comrade. We won't let his sacrifice go to waste. I've got a new job for you. The fascists are using the view from that bunker to call in artillery strikes all over the city. We can't take back Stalingrad unless we control that bunker. You lead the men up the hill. Start by taking out the machine guns in those pillboxes.
Let's storm those pillboxes. After some time in the trenches, we take out the pillbox and lower the flag.
Well done, comrade. Looks like I found myself a new spot.
We now switch to Tanya, the sniper who helped us at the end of the last mission. Sniping 8 Germans will cause the tank to come rolling in, but the sapper makes short work of it. We don't have any time to celebrate before relocating to an old tractor factory that's being used as a tank depot. The road is blocked by machine guns, so we need to make our way through to the sewers.
Out of my way, son! Door stuck! Door stuck! Please!
The sewers is an uneasy, cramped maze to navigate with Germans around every corner. After making our way through the tunnels and dealing with some machine guns, we managed to surface through a wall. Using a set of trenches to reach the factory, we arrived just in time. It's about to be under attack by waves of Germans. We need to prevent them from blowing up the doors and tank before the crew arrives. It's quite tough and they manage to blow open the doors. But the tank crew arrives just in time. We just need to free them from some suppression fire and heal them up.
I feel much better now.
We now play as Nikolai Badanov, who is part of a tank crew. The mission starts with us having to defend the tank while repairs are being made. The defending part's not that interesting, but the PPSH has an interesting problem to compensate. I can't see where I'm firing, and this time it really bugs me since we're no longer fighting in close combat. Look at it! Terrible. After defending the repairman for a couple of minutes, Tanya points out that the tank is rolling in.
Enemy tank! Tank report!
Despite pointing the tank out, she decides to ignore it and remain in the same position. The tank does not take kind to being ignored and makes sure she is noticed. Such is life in the zone. After defending for a couple more seconds, the tank is repaired and we hop on board. Yeah, you thought this was the end of the mission. No, 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 no. We have a tank section, which means I can talk about the movement again. It controls like a tank, but a slow one. This is an innovative section by giving us a taste of the future. We have regenerating health. We also have armor for some reason. It's the second health bar and it doesn't regenerate. Why even bother? Navigating through the streets and killing a couple of tanks, we make our way to HQ. HQ tasks us with delivering a new radio to a couple of pinned down allies in the train station. Hey, she made it. How? Hopping in the tank, we're off. While we are busy, we might as well take the red square to assert dominance and burst into the train station. All the way back here, bursting through the train station's facade, we make our grandiose entrance to do a little breaching. Reaching the top, we deliver the radio and blow up a squad of tanks, followed by the worst lip sync in the entire game.
Junkyard now! Thank you, Lieutenant. This has been one hell of a day.
Your orders are to take control of the enemy airfield near Tatsinskaya to prevent them from resupplying the 6th Army at Stalingrad. This is a critical mission, comrades. Best of luck.
Raven, this is platoon leader. What is your status? Over.
Platoon leader, Raven here. Our trucks are in position. We need 10 minutes to set up the rockets. Over.
Hold positions until... Suka!
Oi! Language blät. Taking down some Stukas allows us to start the assault at the base. After helping our comrades and a short on-foot section in the warehouse, The assault on the airfield can finally begin. Our first objective is to destroy 9 planes. Upon completing that, we proceed to the runway where some planes are trying to make an escape. Yes, into the tank, sir. Redoing 10 minutes of gameplay and arriving back at the section, pressing forward is a daunting task. That's fucking bullshit. Finally pushing past the runway, we reunite with our comrades to capture a control tower on foot. It's a straightforward combat section, only the machine guns give me trouble. I'm going to use this part to talk about this terrible piece of shit. This is the DP. The spread's absolutely terrible on this thing, so quickly pick up a replacement. After taking the tower, we scour for intel. So we pick up some unlabeled documents, look at the cover, and walk away. Based. And that marks the end of the Russian campaign. So how are they gonna tie that into the British campaign? Simple. They don't. The British campaign takes place in North Africa. Tunisia to be specific. We play as Edward Carlyle, a chemistry teacher turned demolition expert in Popsky's private army, which was a real unit in the British Special Forces. They were tasked with buggering Rommel's fuel lines. So in that spirit, we are tasked with fighting through a German fortified town, locate the petrol depot, and blow it up. We start off undetected. Let's see how long that lasts. After eliminating a couple of machine gun entrenchments, German reinforcements and the tank arrive. But my sticky bombs will make short work of them. Fighting further, we blow up a German communications outpost, capture a fortified position, and destroy the generator, completely crippling them before our assault on the petrol storage. The assault on the petrol depot is not an easy one, forcing us to fight through legions of Germans and 3 tanks. But our suffering is not yet ended, as machine guns line the streets, but these are easily taken care of by flanking them from the front. Making it into the petrol depot, we again have to fight tooth and nail through the machine gun entrenchments, and waves of soldiers to plant the charges. Now to make our great escape. We hop into the jeep, get that turret section view, and end the mission. Feels a bit cut short.
Navigating the desert like an ocean of sand, you have to know where you're going and have a plan to get in and out as quickly and quietly as possible. We do prefer it when quietly is not required. The one thing that allows us to hit the enemy where it hurts most is our jeeps. They're always loaded with enough fuel, supplies, and water to travel 600 miles at a stretch. Although unarmored, they can be heavily armed with 2 50 cal MGs firing armor-piercing and incendiary rounds. These make us quick and deadly when we need to be, able to take on German half-tracks and armored cars that outclass us in every other way.
A tactic so solid it's still in use today. While stopping for a refuel, we are ambushed. After the world's most boring ambush, a turret section commences.
Magic.
All of this culminates with AC/DC's Brian Johnson crushing the jeep we're in into a fortress.
Alright, take these explosives, seal off that entrance. The blokes wearing them must be stuck in that fog tower.
I thought my audio mixing could be bad, but I can hardly hear him over the gunfire. So realistic. This mission is a pain in the ass, and it's all because of this objective. Plant explosives on German entry. Now this sounds simple and the game makes it obvious. Go to the left, kill the soldiers, flank the machine guns, and plant the explosives. The problem is the spawning of the soldiers. It's way too quick, and if you let any of them escape, they will run back and rearm the machine guns. So how do we plant the explosives? By brute forcing. In the previously German-held tower, there are fully armed British soldiers on the roof. Why didn't they do anything? The squad was assigned to the cartographer, who was captured by the enemy and taken underground. We need to protect them as they make their way to him. For an escort quest, it's not that bad, especially since the Germans come out with 1 point in single file. Going underground, we find the cartographer, and run off into the tunnels, marking the end of the British campaign. It's all downhill from here.
My name is Chuck Walker. I've been attached to the 1st Army, the Big Red One.
No, that's the next game.
This is it. We're taking Aachen today. The Germans in the town square are cut off from their command and control. But those old buildings are solid enough to resist shelling. Orders are to escort the M12 to the town square, clearing buildings of German resistance on the way. Once we're inside the city hall, the M12 will blow the sumbitch to pieces. Stay close behind the tanks for cover and protect them from German anti-armor. We lose the Shermans and we're all dead. Let's saddle up and get it done.
This mission is the definition of suffering. Let me take you through it. We enter a street filled with machine guns belting down on us. But no worries, our tanks will protect us from the gunfire. Next we are tasked with cleaning a building of enemies. Not too hard, but we start noticing a couple of things about the Germans. They are tankier, more prone to throw grenades, and not a single one of them in that encounter drops any health. Moving on, we notice the tanks are slow to move and don't aid in taking down foot soldiers. So we die over and over and over, and each time means waiting for the tanks, clearing out that building, waiting for the tanks again, defending the tanks for a couple of minutes, followed by another tank escort sequence, another house breaching sequence, but once we hit the basement, we get a checkpoint. If you die at any point during that 10-minute sequence, which you will, you get to do everything over again. I died 5 times. And it took me an hour to finish this mission. And this is why the American campaign is so fucking hard. The lack of fucking checkpoints. You will complete a 10-minute sequence, die, and have to do everything over again. Once in the basement of the final house, we find out that the Germans have been tunneling through the buildings. We'll have none of that, and must clear the tunnels. Emerging from the tunnels, we arrive at the theater building where we have our final turret section and blow up the building.
What? You are
Sleeping?
The Germans are using the sewers to flank us. We're gonna have to go down there after them.
Time to have our mandatory sewer level. The sewers are nothing interesting. All that happens is that we blow up some ladders, and I get the highest frame rate this game has ever achieved. At the end of it, we re-emerge and regroup with the tank column after a turret section. This leads to another escort sequence through the streets, which goes on until the tanks are stopped by a tank entrenchment.
They're too fortified for the Shermans to take out. We gotta get behind them and neutralize them.
We have to flank them, and for that we have to go through Grenade Alley. Why do I call this Grenade Alley? I don't know why, but the enemy AI particularly likes to throw grenades at this part. This is before the grenade indicator was added, so every time you hear LOS! And distinct wrinkling sound of the Steilhandgranate, you'd better start hauling ass into any direction.
Fuck you!
After another house breach, we take out the tanks and blow up the church.
That's it!
How's that for a war crime? In the next mission, we take control of Sam Rivers, a tank commander in the assault of Tillit. It's not a very eventful mission, other than I want to believe. I don't understand this mission, as we go back to Chuck for the next one. Chuck is on his way to the town of Remagen, located here, for those who don't know. Tasked with scouting the bridge that leads over the River Rhine. This is another grueling mission with limited health, heavy hitting enemies, and bullshit galore. I'm going to give you the short version. We fight through the town until we can see that the bridge is still intact. So now we need to secure it. But during our advance we get pushed into what I think is either a town hall or an estate, by a squad of enemy tanks. Well, that's the idea, but I ran to the other side and got trapped. Using the Panzerschrecks on the top floor, we repel the attackers and get some backup by Sam Rivers, the guy from the last mission. So did you like that tank escort mission from the last time? Because it's back, baby. Through the fire and the flames, we make it to the bridge. It actually took me so long that the health bar of the tanks burnt into my screen. We get a cute little callback to the Russian campaign.
That's not a suggestion, that is a direct order. Move out, or I'll execute you for treason myself!
And charge the bridge. The Germans have the end of the bridge pinned down, but we manage to take them out. After shooting down a couple of Stukas, we unleash the American flag and end the game. Wow. Yeah, that did not hold up well. It's not just the technical performance holding this game back. It's broken on a more fundamental level. The lack of health in the later levels and the absence of checkpoints makes it so that some missions are hell to play. It can be nostalgic if you played it when you were younger, but man, I forgot some missions for a reason. It's November now, I need to do something special. I'll see you next time. Shake it, baby.